Diane Kovach, the Associate Program Director for the Blue Ridge Music Center. I'd like to welcome you to the discussion series of Place in the Band, Women in Bluegrass and American Roots Music. This series is part of a project by the Blue Ridge Music Center that began in 2020 to honor the 100th anniversary of women being granted the right to vote. A Place in the Band celebrates the triumphs and explores the struggles faced by women in bluegrass and American roots music. In this discussion series, North Carolina singer, songwriter, and social activist Laura Lynn Dossett speaks with women in the music business, including musicians and others involved in music management and promotion roles. Through these conversations, the women share their stories, talking about their role models, mentors, and inspirations, experiences with people they've worked with, issues they've encountered that are specific to women in the industry, changes they've seen over the years, and other parts of their own personal journeys that have helped them to be who they are today. These individual stories show us the collective strength and future possibilities for women in bluegrass and American roots music. I hope you enjoy the series, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, today I'm excited to introduce you to Ruth Ungar of the Mammals. Unlike a lot of the other women in this series who hail from the South and come out of a bluegrass and sort of Southern folk tradition, Ruth represents more of our Northeastern United States folk royalty. She's the daughter of Jay Ungar and singer Lyn Hardy. She's gone on to have an amazing career of her own as a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. And like a lot of the other women in this project, she does a lot of things. She's been a record producer. She runs a festival that's out of Ashoken. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's had several collaborations, including Mike and Ruthy and Sometymes Why. It was a real pleasure to talk to her at the end of 2020 about all the things that have happened this year and her hopes for the future. My name is Laura Lynn Dossett, and here's Ruth Ungar. One of the things that we've been talking about in this series is that whole idea of gender parity and other sorts of, diversity parity on our stages, and how. So I have two questions about that. One is, what is your thought about that as you program the Hoots, the winter and summer festivals? And the other is, what has been your experience over time with who we're seeing on stages, and has it changed or not?
Well, that's cool. We definitely have always worked to look at that balance in a festival lineup. I find it embarrassing when it's really out of whack and I'm looking at one of those posters and I'm like, where's oh, there she is. Okay. Oh, there's another one. Yeah, those posters.
I do.
We care about that. When you put that poster out, what is it? Who do you have there? And it's not just gender parity, but we live in a really white part of New York State, I guess, and and in a genre, Americana and folk, that is so white. So we're doing our best to, just have any kind of diversity. That seems to be more of a focus for us in the past couple of years than gender, because we kind of had the gender thing on our mind when we started, and hopefully already baked that into our process a little bit.
Right.
But I do think it's evolved a little. I think it's just not, I think anytime you're trying to have more people of color or more women in your program, there's this balancing act between placing somebody that is a token, or tokenizing someone, and I'm trying to sort of study how to navigate that the best that I can. Mike predominantly books the Hoot, but I like to recommend people, So I think,
I'll ask.
I don't know that in my lifetime I don't know that I've really perceived a big change happening, to be honest, but it has. I know it has. I think that when you look for it, it's frustrating and you don't see it. But when you look back and you see how even worse it was, then you see that something has happened. It's like watching a movie from the 80s that I grew up with and didn't realize was sexist. And now I'm like, hey, wow, that just happened in this movie. Oh, yeah, that was the norm. And it can be horrifying or it can be inspiring because you're like, wow, that really wouldn't be in a movie right now. I think part of the problem is that women, I want more. I don't just want there to be some women. I want there to be women who aren't just the singer and also that they also like play an instrument, or that it's not one woman surrounded by men on stage, which is what I did, and still do in the Mammals, or that it isn't an all woman band that is like, that's like this novelty that, that's part of their identity. Like that shouldn't be a fact about a band.
Right.
Maybe that's what I loved about meeting the Ducks when we were on tour in the old days, is they were a 5-piece band that had 2 women in the band, and one of them was the lead singer, who didn't really play any instruments, but there was a fiddle player in the band who was also a woman and an incredible musician. And I grew up in an era where it was politically correct to say that you didn't see color, or that you didn't see, maybe gender or something. And I know now, I'm relieved to know that like, that doesn't really work, that you should see it, should see it, just not in a horrible way. You should see it. You should allow someone's, visual traits to exist, to not have that be the main thing about the person. If they're not white and not a man, that is not interesting to me. That is not the most interesting thing about them. That can't be the main first couple adjectives that you use to describe that musician, or it shouldn't be. And when you're going out to try and make your festival more diverse, it is what you're looking for. But in the end, you got to be excited about the music and the creativity and the spirit and the, everything you would be excited about for anybody you're hiring.
Right.